Welcome to Festpod, the unofficial Download Festival guide. I'm Neil Wilkinson. This is the place for news and rumours about the festival, advice for going, and where you can have your say too. So now let's welcome my fellow host, Lee Ellingham. How are you?
I'm alright. How are you?
I'm alright. How are you?
How are you?
How are you?
Yeah.
You're sounding a lot better.
Well, I got my computer fixed. Or at least we got a new computer.
So this is the computer that you pushed off the desk.
I didn't push it off, it fell off.
In a rage.
No, it wasn't arranged. See, don't spin these things. No. I was reaching for a charger in the drawer. As I pulled the drawer open, the screen has fallen off the shelf and slap bang onto the microphone, so the screen busted. Now I've got a new computer. It's at a sensible level where I can see it and it's not going to fall off.
Oh, good. Okay, so get in touch with us on the socials by looking for Festpod. Say hi, ask our advice about download, or just chime in with whatever you want. If we say something and you think, oh, I could say something about that, then just get in touch. So now it's time for festival news. And there's quite a bit of news. I mean, it's only been a month since the last podcast, but there's a lot has happened, hasn't it?
Yeah, as regard to like download announcements, I mean this time every year there's always an announcement regarding bands. But as of the 28th of January at 11:20 a.m, there is nothing. So we are still with the same lineup that we had when our last announcement was, I believe, back in September. However, download-related stuff. Has anybody heard of the heavy metal truants?
No.
Right. So on a previous podcast, we spoke about the bike riding from London to Donington, didn't we?
Oh, yes. In travel, how to get to download, yeah. Yeah.
So the heavy metal truants have announced that they're starting their sign-ups from, I believe it was from this week. So basically, you can either cycle, run, or walk the distance to London to Donington for children's charities. The children's charities include Teenage Cancer Trust, Save the Children, Childline, and Nordoff Robbins, which is a charity for musical therapy for teenagers and children. I thought it was quite interesting to be obviously thinking cycling, run, or walking the distance, because it is a long bloody way. You don't actually have to do it physically. You can do it virtually.
So this just to make it clear to anybody who has literally never heard of this ever before, it's cycling, running, or walking the distance from London to Donington, and you can do it virtually or in person.
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, I imagine you'd go around your office or your workplace, get loads of sign-ups, raise loads of money for it, and then you can either jump onto a treadmill and walk or run the distance in several different days, or if you fancy being a bit more of a hero, you can do the cycling on the one day from London to Donington.
Fucking hell.
Imagine being that fit.
I know. I mean, how many hundreds of miles is it? It's a long way.
It is.
But it's for a good cause. So if you're minded to do that, heavymetaltruants.com is the place to sign up and raise money for charities. Meatloaf, unfortunately, biffed it.
He did. I'm not 100% whether the rumours regarding his death were true, but apparently it's surrounding him being an anti-vaxxer and he died of COVID.
Yeah, it's all rumour because the family don't want to release the cause of death.
Of course, absolutely. Well, I mean, why would you? In the day, the death of somebody in the family, they're allowed their privacy. So obviously that is a huge rumour that may or may not be true. Let's put that out there now.
That's what's going around the internet at the moment.
Festpod do not condone shit stirring. But it's a shame because he is considered a legend in the heavy metal and rock scene.
Did he ever play Download?
He may have played on the Donington Park when it was Monsters of Rock or something in between, but I can't 100% clarify that.
I've never heard of him being at Donington before, actually. I'm going to do a quick search whilst the question occurs to me, because I'd be surprised if he hadn't, because the number 1983.
There you go.
Wow. That is, and I can tell you how long ago that is, because that's the year I was born. It's 39 years ago. Jesus.
You old git you.
Yeah. So he did grace Donington's turf, but it's been a very long time since, and it wasn't actually at Download. But yeah, God bless you, mate, Meatloaf. And do you know what? I was never a massive fan, I have to say. I think I saw more of his movies than I heard of his music. I remember him being in Wayne's World. Do you remember that? You've only seen it once, haven't you?
I've got it on the shelf somewhere. I should really watch it again. But I remember him from Fight Club.
Oh, yes! He was in Fight Club.
Yes, he plays the man with the massive boobies that he got from taking horse tranquilizers or horse steroids.
Okay, right. Okay, I haven't seen that for a very long time, actually. I should probably dig that out and have a look at that as well. Yeah, but there we go. Goodbye, Meatloaf. Andy Copping and Download have been promoing Ghost.
A lot. So this is making me think that they may or may not. They may either stick them in the last logo slot on the main stage of this year's festival, or give them a big slot at next year's festival. Either way, thoroughly deserved. They are very, very popular in the scene, and they are one of the bands that are on the tip of everybody's tongues when people talk about future headliners. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do get to see them either this year or next year at Download.
And Bring Me the Horizon as well. Same sort of situation. They've been putting them a lot on their social media. They're
always on the tips of everybody's tongues ever since the new album came out. And again, rightly so. They were on the front cover of Rolling Stone recently, which Andy Copping himself really started to push.
You love them, don't you, Bring Me the Horizon?
Do you know what? Not quite. No.
Oh, really?
I like a lot of their old stuff.
Okay.
And the new album. The new album is really good in comparison to some of the most recent stuff. I'm more of a big supporter of, again, younger British bands that are trying to push through. I say trying to push through. They're massive.
Squeezing it out.
Yeah, they're massive in sort of the Alton, excuse the phrase, emo scene. And I think they should have been. I mean, they're headlining Reading, for fuck's sake, this year. So I think they should really be getting their chance to headline Donington very soon.
They've been around for a while, haven't they? It's probably time that they had a better profile at festivals.
Yeah, I mean, as Download veterans, we all like to complain that the headliners that we get are all the oldies from the 80s and the 70s, and obviously some things from the late 90s. And it'd be nice to see one of the newer bands like Bring Me the Horizon, Ghost, even likes of Architects, grace the main stage at Donington.
So, past headliners, Muse have got a new single out. It's called Won't Stand Down. We've heard a bit of it. What do we think?
Listened to it this morning, and yeah, I like it. I really do. It's got quite a bit of a bassy, poppy sort of intro to it. As you go into it, so as you get further into the song, it's that sort of classic Muse sound, and I really enjoy it. I'll definitely be listening to it more to get the 5 million listens to it already. I'm going to try and help and bump that up a little bit, because 5 million compared to, I think one of their other tracks was 480 million. They're slacking a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they're a huge band, aren't they? They're what was my phrase? They're a world-class band. And
they're massive.
Yeah, but they are still a bit Marmite, aren't they? Some people really don't like Muse.
I mean, you can say that about everything and anything. When they headlined in 2015, one, they were fucking incredible. Two, there was a lot of kickback about them because they weren't considered heavy metal, they weren't considered heavy rock. But I think it's ridiculous. You go back through their catalogue of stuff, you go through even some of their newer stuff, they are a rock band that should be at Download a lot. And they've only ever played once, compared to the likes of the bands that have been around for nearly 50 years and have graced the stage fucking hundreds of times.
Well, yeah, you've got a point there. I mean, Iron Maiden comes to mind.
And Kiss.
And there are rumours about Kiss pulling out, aren't there? I don't know where this has come from, but you seem to know about this.
It was one of those things that popped up. It popped up on Reddit, and then it's just gone from there. Like someone had heard from somewhere that Kiss were pulling out.
Oh, really?
It probably started on ye old Facebook or Meta. Now can't call it. Can we still call it Facebook?
I guess so. I mean, I don't know anybody who calls it Meta, to be honest.
Either way. I think as a rumor may have started on Facebook, that's come onto Reddit, which I'm a regular user, and I saw it, and I just thought it was questioned again on the Download forum, and I think it's just hot air.
You're not a fan of Kiss, are you?
Well, that's what I was about to say. Like, it sparked a conversation with a few people that they would be actually quite happy for Kiss to drop out. And to be honest, I'm trying. Like, they're the headliner for this year, so I have got them on my my Spotify playlist, and I am physically trying to listen to them and try and get into it, but I just can't. I think maybe they're going to be one of those bands where I'm going to have to get really drunk, and then I can start screaming at the top of my lungs, I want to rock and roll.
It is very old school, isn't it?
It is that old school sort of rock music. And I think, I think just the sound of, again, the 70s, 80s, it doesn't quite compare to nowadays.
It is very different, yeah. And also there's a rumour that Maiden and Megadeth won't clash. But why is that a rumour?
Well, see, I assume that would be the case because the fan base of both are obviously roughly the same age for a start, and are very, very similar tastes. So why would they clash? Surely,
I see. Yeah.
When they had the conversation with having Megadeth headline on the second stage and Iron Maiden headlining on the same day on the main stage, surely Andy Coppins said, right, well, we won't make those clash because they are huge bands. So
it's a point, isn't it? I mean, I'd arguably say that Iron Maiden is a bigger band than Megadeth.
Oh, big time.
And you wouldn't see Megadeth headlining, for example, would you?
No. Again, the last headline slot I think they got in the UK was at Bloodstock a few years ago, and nothing against Bloodstock, obviously, but it's in comparison to capacity wise, Bloodstock is minute compared to Download.
Yeah.
So yeah, Megadeth are always one of those top thrash bands of the 80s and early 90s. So they'll have a massive following of the same sort of crowd of Iron Maiden. So to make them clash would be just silly.
And you're an expert when it comes to figuring out what's going to clash and when people are on, even before it's been announced, aren't you?
Well, I wouldn't say expert.
Wouldn't you?
But no, I regularly look at the Clash Finder, which isn't 100% until the day that Download announced the official set times. But based on previous years of timings and stuff like that, you can sort of work it out who you're going to see and at what time and when you're going to see them. Take Clash Finder with a pinch of salt, but it can work out well, because I mean, at the minute, based on whoever's done this Clash Finder, because it's all fan based, it's not.
Oh, this is not your own handiwork. This is someone else that's done this.
Right. I'm a busy man. I cannot take the time to fucking put a Clash Finder together on the internet for everybody else to see. It takes me long enough to do it for me.
I thought you'd got bits of paper all over your bedroom walls where you'd written down all the start and finish times of all the bands that have put in so far, and you were absolutely on top of all of it. But you're saying that's not the case.
You're about half right, yeah. I have got myself a little spreadsheet of all the time, basically the times
just
I've based
a spreadsheet.
it on.
We've come into the 90s now, and we haven't got paper all over the walls.
Exactly. Like, come on, like the you've got the list of bands on the poster. You can sort of work out where they're going to go. and it's somebody else who has got the times written down that then puts them in their place of where they think they're going to drop, or where they're going to be placed. And about this time of the year, when you've got the majority of the lineup made, you can start guessing where they're going to go. Now, if I just flick through my...
Unfold your large piece of paper that you've taken off your bedroom wall.
I've got it here somewhere. My spreadsheet doesn't have the times on it, but it has obviously every single band on every single stage. And it's quite easy to work out, based on previous years, which stages are either full, nearly full, or still need a lot more acts to be added.
Right.
And at the minute, to me, it looks like the Saturday we're pretty much sorted with the bands that we have. There's probably about maybe 4 or 5 left to be spread out through the day. But then you've got Friday, which is still missing a logo band on the main stage. Second stage has only got 5 bands. Third stage has got 6. So, I mean, there's a lot of space on the Friday still needing to be made up for. But, yeah, if you look through just the names on Saturday, it's practically full.
Oh, so, yeah, you're right. I'm looking at the lineup poster. Yeah, it looks very full, but Friday still looks like there's quite a few names to be added.
Yeah. So, I mean, so the way that I've done my Clash Finder, all I do is I do almost like a traffic light system of who I'm definitely going to see. Oh, come on. I'm not the right. You're laughing at me as if I'm the only person that does this. No. I guarantee there's hundreds of people that do this.
Okay, no, I trust you, but where would we all be without people who did this? Because we get nothing from Download for ages. We have to wait months and months for any information whatsoever. So it's left to people like you to speculate.
I'm not speculating. Okay.
No,
so
you've got concrete information.
My system basically it's just a traffic light system of who I want to see. It's not a concrete sort of fucking Clash Finder.
Right, okay.
I'll do that when the official time's been released, which is what everyone should do, because you shouldn't just believe rumours.
Oh, no. Everything that we say is complete bullshit.
Yeah, why do people listen to it?
Anyway, so you have got a pretty good idea of what's going to happen and what time it's going to happen and who's going to appear. Are there any bands that you are expecting to appear who have not yet shown their faces on the lineup poster?
I'd like to say Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes.
Oh my God, yes, please. I would love that.
I'm only basing that off the fact that they were on the last 2 lineups and they're not there this year. So that's just me guessing.
Oh, they're so good.
The artist Poppy, she's been in the last 2 lineups as well. American artists that what I'd like to call extreme heavy pop music.
Oh, great! That sounds like that's up my street. That.
If that makes sense to you, then yeah, I think she might still be on the lineup.
Wow.
I'm just trying to remember, because I haven't got it up in front of me. I'm trying to remember the lineups that we had the last 2 years that didn't go ahead. Ailstorm.
Really? You think they're going to be back?
A lot of people have seen that they're announcing. They were announcing festival dates like towards the end of last year, obviously, and then just waiting for the next download announcement to obviously make their presence known.
Wow, there's still a lot of room, isn't there? So there's plenty of people who could be on there. We'll just have to wait and see.
I think the next announcement we get will be the full lineup, and we'll get probably about 10 to 15 acts to finish it off.
It's going to be absolute. Do you think it's going to be rammed this year? What with everyone having to wait basically 2 years for a full download?
I don't know. I mean, online you always see more negative comments than positive. Despite
that's the same every year. Exactly.
So I mean, it's hard just by basing it off that. It's hard to say really. I mean, the pilot. Did the pilot sell out? I assume the pilot sold out.
Well, you would have thought so. Yeah, I mean, but they did seem to be selling tickets still right up until the last minute, didn't they? Yeah,
so again, basing it off that, if people are still worried about COVID, Omicron, whatever, then maybe not. I don't think there's, and I mean, no offense to obviously the bands that are playing, but I don't think there's any acts on the lineup that warrant a sellout or warrant massive numbers coming in.
Certainly
and that's
not if
basically,
you look at the headliners. But what about Korn?
Wow. You know my feelings on Korn.
I do know your feelings on Korn. Will they not draw an arena-sized crowd?
Oh, massively. The last 2 times I've seen them was with Limp Bizkit and with Slipknot, and yeah, the Wembley was very much almost sold out. So yeah, they'll draw big numbers in.
Volbeat,
but again, last time I saw them was Brixton. Brixton didn't sell out, but I think the main point for people wanting to see these sorts of bands is they all have new music coming out before the festival, or have all made new music within the pandemic. So, I mean, especially with the bands lower down the lineup, Spirit Box, Wargasm, Death Blooms, Sleep Token, they all made music and all brought albums out within the pandemic. So if we were going to see them in 2020 compared to, say, now, they may not have got the reception they're going to get in 2022 that they would have got in 2020. Now they've got more music out, and now they are really selling themselves. I reckon the numbers will be up. But with regards to being a big sellout or being a massive crowd, I think we should probably get the usual 70 to 80,000 people.
Do you really think so? Wow. Okay, well, I mean, that's busy enough, isn't it? Let's be honest, for us. There's too many people anyway. They should just do concerts for us, really.
I mean, wouldn't that be lovely? Wouldn't that be nice?
I mean, if we put a festival on, Festpod Festival, Festpod,
Festpod Fest, yeah.
Then it would be pretty intimate, wouldn't it? There'd just be us there.
Hey, I'd happily do a day festival in a small venue with about 5,000 people. Sit in the back, sit in the VIP area, and just watch from afar.
Oh my God, we have to do this, you know.
I'd love to. I really would. But again, it depends on who we can talk to get. I mean, have I told you, like, I'm Bezies with the lads in Envisions.
Oh, I've heard. Yeah, the drummer in particular.
Yeah, I mean, I talk to them. Whether they reply or not, it's 50-50. But they're very good. They're very. Do you know what? They're very good with their fans. Admittedly, they do reply to a lot of people, and they do share a lot of their fans' stuff on Instagram. So they are very good. But they'd be right top of my list if I was to do a festival, big time.
Absolutely. Now moving on. We do have some news about Spotify, which you may be listening to this podcast on. So it's slightly embarrassing, but on Twitter, deleted Spotify and cancel Spotify is trending. Because, I don't know if you've heard about this, Neil Young wants his music removed from Spotify in response to their Joe Rogan podcast spreading misinformation about the coronavirus vaccines. Now, I have been a Spotify user for a very long time. I don't really appreciate Joe Rogan spreading this bullshit information on his podcast. I don't have any... I have no stake in this at all, apart from the fact that I want everybody to move on from the pandemic and for us all to be healthy again. But I have moved on from Spotify, but that wasn't particularly the reason. I just got sick of it. I just rubbish sound quality and the fact that they don't pay their artists very much. So I'm now on Apple Music. I bought a yearly subscription to Apple Music just because I'm an Apple user and it just seemed to make sense. But it seems like a lot of people are deleting and cancelling their Spotify account because of Joe Rogan talking about the coronavirus vaccines and giving misinformation. And Neil Young has taken quite a stance on this. What do you think?
Well, I mean, that alone does warrant cancellation because, yeah, it's getting ridiculous now that people in such prominent positions like Joe Rogan are spreading the bullshit. And I've always said that, I mean, you and I could be wrong about this, about the COVID and everything, but we're vaccinated just in case it is true. But if COVID is true and those that aren't being vaccinated are digging the heels and not going to get vaccinated, then they're putting themselves and others at harm. So, I mean, if it's false, oh, whoops, we're fools. We got something put on us. We didn't know what it was. But if it is true, we're protected and we're protecting everybody else. So that's how I've always looked at it.
I mean, I think I preferred the conspiracy that Bill Gates is putting microchips into us all.
Oh, I tell you what, on that. So I got my booster done at the end of December. My wife asked me what I want for my birthday, and she said to me, how do you feel about having an Xbox for your birthday?
Oh, wow.
Xbox is Microsoft, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who's the head of Microsoft?
Well, it's not Bill Gates.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. It's not. He turned that over to somebody else some years ago.
Oh, well, okay, right. You still affiliate Bill Gates with Microsoft, surely.
Right, okay. He founded it and was in charge of it for a long time, yeah.
Thank you. So she suggested, did you want to get an Xbox for your birthday? And I said, it's funny you mentioned that. You've just had your booster. So clearly that chip that he's put in your brain has made you want to buy his products.
I see. Oh, I get where you're going.
Yeah, see. So he plants the chip in people and we all buy his products.
Right.
Does that not make sense?
It makes about as much sense as what Joe Rogan's coming out with.
I know.
So, I mean, some people on Twitter are saying, well, does it really make any difference if you delete Spotify? It's pretty much, I think, the number one music app in the world. So is it really going to make any difference? But, if you want to make a point and that's your way of doing it, then fair enough.
See, I think whilst that is a massive reason to get rid of it, obviously you're going to have people in positions like Joe Rogan that are going to start spreading bullshit. The way that they pay the artists is another reason as to why I think they need to take a long, hard look at themselves.
Well, that was my reason for moving.
Yeah, because they're paying the artists fuck all, and it's not fair because you get the up and coming bands, obviously like we mentioned, Visions. A local one to me was As Everything Unfolds. You get these bands that are only able to plug out, say, between 500,000 listens a month to potentially 1 million, and there are bands that do less than that and will get paid fuck all. So how the hell are we supposed to get new bands come round, and how is the fucking new band supposed to make more money by not really getting paid by the things that people are using them for to get their music?
Years ago, we're talking in the 1990s, when there was no internet, really, there was no way of listening to bands' new albums before buying them. I mean, if you went into HMV, which for you very young people was a music shop that you could buy CDs at. Do you know what CDs are? And they used to have on the wall of the shop several CDs in a player. And you put a pair of headphones on and you'd press play and you could hear music to sample, basically, the album. Do you remember that, Lee? No.
I recognise that sort of contraption and old fogey sort of thing you're talking about. So I don't think I've ever been in one.
Okay, well, it was just on the wall. You just put a pair of headphones on and press play. I mean, I was a kid. Let's get that clear. So that was the only way of doing it. But so nowadays, when you've got your Apple Music, your Spotify, your Tidal, your whatever else that you use, the online music service, that's how I sample albums. And if I like it, I will spend the money and buy the album. That's how I choose to use the service. That's how I want to support bands. If I really like what I've heard based on a sample that I've heard, some people may think that's crazy, but I like to support people who I like, and I don't believe that using the online music services is the way to do it, because they get pennies, and if you're enjoying what they've made, then I believe that they should get properly paid for it.
Yeah, and this is why when you go to book tickets to see the shows, and it's why you look at buying their merchandise, and you might think, fuck me, that's extortionate, but it's because they're getting paid fuck all to put their media out digitally. I agree with you. And if I had all the spare cash in the world, that would be the way that I'd like to do it as well. Actually, physically buying the CDs. I only buy music of bands that I really, really, really like. Korn's new album comes out in bollocks. I should know this. I think it's in February. I think
Will you call yourself a fan?
I do. Terrible. Or the 4th of March. Why is the 4th of March sticking out in my brain? It might be the 4th of March. But yeah, they've got new music out, and I do intend to buy a physical copy of that album and not just stream it on. Obviously, I'll have to stream it first just because it's so readily available, but I will be buying the physical copy.
It's not necessary. I mean, I know physical copies are very fashionable these days with vinyl and record players making a return. But I don't have any of that. So, I mean, I haven't really even got a CD player. I've got an Xbox that's got a CD drive that I suppose I could use, but I haven't got... My car doesn't have a CD player. I just go to the iTunes store and pay for a copy of the album that way. I mean, even if it's 9 or 10 quid, the artist is still getting a fair share of the royalties from that, because you pay a little bit more for a CD copy because you've got a physical item that you have to manufacture, and that's generally why that costs a little bit more. But
I actually looked into Korn's merchandise list, which is to go along with the new album, and you'll never fucking guess what they're going to sell along with the CD.
Oh, coasters.
Hang on, this is going to make this is going to make you laugh, because I believe we mentioned this on one of the earliest podcasts that we did.
Tea towels.
A tape.
Really?
A tape. You know,
who's got a tape player?
Exactly. But they're selling it. They're selling tapes, which I thought was fucking brilliant.
I mean, is it brilliant or is it crazy?
But come on, now you'd almost buy it to have it just like sat there in a box, like
well,
one of the most.
I wouldn't. It's worse. It's a worse experience because you can't skip tracks. If you hear a track and you want to go back to it, you've got to stop the tape, rewind for a couple of minutes, and then press stop, and then press play. You can't just press one button and it's back to the beginning.
But how do you do it on vinyl as well, though? Because is that not the same concept? You've got to pick the needle up and then move the needle back?
You can, but you can see where there's a space between the tracks at least.
I don't know. I've never experienced, but to be honest, this is really bad. I'm 32 years old, and my only experience with a vinyl is looking at the player my dad had when I was younger.
Really? Well,
I've never used one in my life. I want one, but I've never used one in my life.
See, this is educational now. On a piece of vinyl that's got several tracks on it, like an album, between the tracks, if you look at the vinyl, you can see a space. There's a gap between where the physicality of the tracks is. So there's a little spot between all the tracks. They can go, all right, okay, move. Do you know when you used to get...
Every day's a school day. Thanks for that.
On compilation albums, like now that's what I call Music 100, let's say, because my era was sort of now 20 and now 30 and stuff. But anyway, on the current ones, not that I listen to them anymore, but anyway, on the current ones, like where there's like 10 tracks on each side, you'll have 10 tracks. And if you want to go to, let's say, track 5, you count across 5 tracks. There it is. And you'll start at track 5. That's how we used to do it!
In all honesty, I did not know that. So I'm glad you've told me, because like I said, every day is a school day. So that's brilliant. So thank you for that. And there might be younger listeners out there that are thinking, fuck me, yeah, vinyls.
Yeah, well, I know. Yeah, I know there's younger people listen to this. So hello to you. Thank you for listening to these. Well, I'm older than you. I'm older than you, and I know about tapes and records.
Do you turn 40 this year? Or
no.
Well, I'll take that as a yes then. So you've only got like 8 years on me.
No, I turn 40 next year. Thank you.
What, as in 2023 or 2022?
I was born in 83.
All right, so 39 this year then.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Right, you've got 7 years on me, so you're not that much older than me.
Anyway.
And I only just turned 32, so...
Fine, okay, all right. Bloodstock have announced 12 bands to their lineup.
They did indeed. And to be honest, I'm kind of gutted I'm not going.
You've decided now you're not going?
Oh, no, we're definitely not going.
But you love Bloodstock.
I do.
And there are 12 bands they've just announced.
They have, and as I just said, I'm kind of gutted I'm not going. But at the same time, I'm doing download, and that's going to be an expensive experience enough as it is. So
you've done it before.
That was when. Yeah, no, that was when I was living at my in-laws and I was paying fuck all for rent. So I had spare cash. Now I have a mortgage. I don't.
Oh.
But anyway, back to the Bloodstock announcement that was announced yesterday.
Yes.
Right, they have announced 12 bands. 3 of the bands I'm really excited by because 2 of them I've seen, and one of them was a band that I'd always wanted to see. So I'm hoping that, yes, while they may be at Bloodstock, they may be able to swing around the UK in June and stay instead. But the first band that they announced was the Swedish metalers Avatar.
Oh, yes.
They played Download in 2018. They were the second band on the main stage of, I believe, the Saturday. And they were fucking incredible. They are really, really good. So if you're going to Bloodstock, definitely check them out. I believe they are opening up for Sleep Token on the what's called the Sophie Lancaster stage on the Friday night.
Oh, wow. Brilliant. If I was going, I would definitely go and watch them.
Second band. Now, this band takes me back to my teen years. They're Mexican nu metal legends Il Nino. They did loads of tracks for films like Freddy vs. Jason. Shit film, great soundtrack. But again, they were part of that era with the likes of Korn, Slipknot, and the Roadrunner record label, where they were really, really massive back in like the early 2000s. Again, there'd be a band on my list that I'd really want to see. So again, I'm fingers crossed they play Download in June before going over to Bloodstock. The third band I'm going to mention is Red Method. They are an industrial metal band, and they will be they're headlining the Bawdy Takeover on the Thursday night of Download, but they've also managed to get themselves a opening slot for the Friday at Bloodstock. Highly recommend you go and see them. They are a really good up-and-coming band. They are also playing at another festival that we're going to mention in a minute. So, yeah, those are the 3 out of the 12 that I would highly recommend, and those are the ones that obviously I know a little bit more about. The other bands that were announced, Thrown into Exile, who actually commented and liked our Bloodstock post. So if they are listening, they did. If they're listening, thank you very much for that. Who else have we got? A band called Pupil Slicer, who are on the festival circuit this year as well. The band Cage Fight, Scarlet Riot, Desert Storm, Vended, Sorcerer, and Beast. Although it's spelt Baest. So to me that sounds based, but they're Danish death metal band, so I'm assuming it's just Beast. But the way it looks like Bay and based.
Alrighty. Techfest, on the other hand, have announced 50-ish bands. What's 50-ish?
51.
51, okay. So they've announced 51 bands. 51 bands in one go?
Yeah, so a lot of them are from the lineups that were supposed to happen in 2000 and 2021. But again, so the last time we spoke about Techfest properly was when we were talking about the ticket prices.
Yes.
And I still say now, Techfest is the best festival you're going to get for your money.
It does look good. I mean, I've looked at the lineup and it does look really good, actually. Value.
Yeah, with the level of the sort of bands that are playing and the price for a full weekend ticket without camping is £70. If you want to stick camping on top of that, it's £85.
See, how good
is that?
Weekend. That's what you should be paying for a festival.
Yep. And if you want to do VIP, it's £135.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
For the full weekend. So they are definitely on my list of festivals that I want to do if I fancy a cheaper year.
And when do they hold that? When's that on?
It's in the Newark Showground, which is in Nottingham.
Okay.
Or Newark upon Trent. So it's still the Midlands.
Nottinghamshire.
Yes. Maybe? Nottinghamshire. Yeah, so the Newark Showground in Nottingham.
Okay. I would go to that, for that money.
I would. Like I said, for the reason I'm not doing Bloodstock, obviously money wise, so I won't be doing anything like that this year. Yeah. But again, if the lineup is, to be honest, even if the lineup isn't my bag for 2023, I am really considering it, considering how cheap it is.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, so they've announced 50, and I've got a list of about 10 of the acts that they've announced. So 2 of the headliners, God is an Astronaut. Great name.
I love that name.
Great name. They're an Irish post-rock band.
Okay.
And the other headliner is a band called The Ocean, who apparently are a fairly older band. They've been around for about 20 years or so. Okay. And they are a German prog metal. Which is what,
prog metal. Wonder what that sounds like.
Which is what a lot of, obviously, Tech Fest do. A lot of the prog metal, tech, doom, industrial stuff like that. That's Tech Fest sort of niche, I suppose you'd call it.
They love really heavy stuff in Germany, don't they?
The German metal music is fantastic. Obviously, think of the likes of Rammstein for one. Obviously, we all know Rammstein. They're amazing. There's another band called Orden Ogen, who is that's a power metal band, and I've always recommended power metal to you because I reckon that'd be something right up your alley. Yeah. And they are fantastic. Saw them at Bloodstock a few years ago. They put on an amazing show. Vocally, musically, they are just incredible. They should be bigger in this country than they are, but again, power metal is bigger in Europe than it is in the UK, which is a shame. But having said that, I don't know where they'll be performing this summer at all. Maybe something I can look up.
Okay.
Other bands. You've got Hacktivist.
Oh, yes.
We know Hacktivist. We've seen them. We've heard a lot about them the last couple of years. Did not realise they're only up the road from me. They're based in Milton Keynes.
Oh, why don't you harass the drummer?
He might be. Why? What? No, you know what? I can't even defend myself.
Harass the drummer and make him be your friend.
Look, right, I had proper self-control when I saw Envisions in London at Boston Music Rooms, right, in December, when they said, because they only finished at 10 o'clock, which I thought was quite weird, but they said, hang about, because we are going to be about at the merch stand and having a couple of beers, so hang about with us. And I had such self-control, I went home.
Oh, why?
Because Omicron was massive, and I didn't feel...
Was that another band that was playing next? That's a great band name, by the way. Omicron is massive.
Omicron.
But they invited you to hang out with them, and you loved
them. Not me specifically.
But did he not say to you at Download Pilot that you should have a drink with them? He
did. Josh Hardy asked or said to me, "Come and have a beer with us when we're playing in London."
Well, why didn't you? That was your one chance.
It probably may not be my one chance. Come on, if he's gone to the Pilot, he might be a Download regular. So if I stalk him enough, I'll probably see him again.
Oh my God. You'll find out which tent he's in.
Yeah, and just sit there while him and his missus is trying to fall asleep. Not condoning that behaviour. That's just weird, right? Should we move on?
Okay, so Slam Dunk have announced bands on New Year's Day, which was a month ago.
Christ, yeah, we've not done a podcast in a while, have we? Fucking hell, sorry, that's my bad. They announced their fourth headliner in Neck Deep, who are a massive... They're a regular at Download, and to be able to get a headlining slot at a festival like Slam Dunk is pretty big. They also announced Cancer Bats and The Bronx, who are massive within punk pop alternate sort of scene, so that'll be good for a lot of people. They also announced recently the full lineup and schedule. Not schedule, sorry. No, they've announced the full lineup for one of the stages that they have. Oh. So the Rock Scene stage has been fully announced with the list of the bands, obviously, which is the stage that Neck Deep are headlining. And also on that stage, you've got The Story So Far, The Wonder Years, Motion City Soundtrack, Knuckle Puck, Kenny Hoopala, Hot Milk, Meet Me at the Altar, who are playing Download. I'm quite excited to see Meet Me at the Altar, actually. And a band called Beauty School. So that's the...
Oh, I love that. Do you know what? I wish... Is there some sort of online automatic generator of band names? Because I love these names.
Let's have a look. I mean, we're both on our computers. Sure, let's have a look. Was it automatic or automated? What did you say?
I was sort of oh my God, there is.
Band name generator.
Create a name for your band in seconds with Name Generator. 2 adjectives to describe it. So let's go for shouty. Shouty rock. Oh no, put metal. Metal. Oh, bathtub crashing. Yes, got to go and see a bathtub crashing.
Right.
10 odd frogs. I like that.
No, I enjoyed that.
Super shouty frogs.
Brilliant.
Twilight of the Guitar Gods. Oh, that's quite good.
That is very power metal.
It is, yes.
Christ.
The love is shouty, but it's metal. Okay.
That sounds like a good song title.
It is the kind of songs Flight of the Drums might record. Flight of the Drums. Oh, okay.
There you go.
Master of Donington. So this, if you're in a band and you need a name-generator.org.uk is what I've just found that on. That's completely random. And you can put in all these different things that will generate a name for you. So there you go. Turbulence Fest have announced 2022 dates in October.
So Turbulence Festival, it's one of those festivals that is very much value for money. £25 for the 2-day festival plus £6 for the after party. So your festival will start at 5 o'clock on the 14th until 11:30 in the evening. And then on a Saturday, it will start from 12 p.m. all the way through to 11:30 in the evening. And then that £6 upgrade gets you to stay till 3 a.m., which I assume you'll be able to, speak to the bands or just carry on partying if you're that way inclined. You can carry on. And their last year's lineup included bands like Bleed From Within, Death Blooms, Everything Unfolds, and Borders, who are all due to play Download in 2022. Wow. So you know they're getting in some decent names in to play this festival. So while they haven't announced yet, just be prepared that these bands could be fairly big, and for about £31.
How good is that?
Exactly. Bargain.
That's it's less than the price of a ticket for other bands at bigger venues, isn't it? So you get a festival over 2 days, a Friday and Saturday, for some great bands which are going to be right up your street.
Exactly.
So if you're in the Plymouth area, I won't be going because I live 300 miles away. But if I was bothered for 31 quid and I lived nearby, I would absolutely be going. If it was in my neighbourhood, I would definitely be there. Burn It Down Fest is happening in September.
So Burn It Down Fest is at the Foundry in Torquay. So it's just up the road from the junction in Plymouth. And their acts include headliners Dream State. You've also got Tiger Club, Modern Era, The City Is Ours, Pupil Slicer, who I mentioned, who are also playing Bloodstock. And their ticket prices are just as good as Turbulence. So for under 18s, you're looking at £25, and then £30 for adults. And that's a 2-day indoor festival.
How good is that? Tiger Club are really good, by the way. I've seen them.
You saw them at the Pilot, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Oh, you did not see them?
No, I think they were on the bands that I missed.
They were really good. I've seen them at the Download Pilot, and I saw them supporting Royal Blood in Newcastle as well.
Brilliant.
Yeah, really good band. So check them out if you're in the Torquay area. And finally, 2000 Trees is running a competition to win VIP tickets, which will be well worth entering. Go to their website to find out more. 2000 Trees is a festival that's on my wish list to go to. So I may have a look at that myself, actually.
I would, because at least if you win and you're not paying for it, at least you save some money somehow.
Yeah, VIP tickets as well. So that's, it's a much smaller festival than Download Festival, so I don't know what exactly that would entail.
Well, I can definitely say that, or at least this was the case for 2019, that that upon arrival, you get a glass of bubbly.
Oh, that's nice.
In it just.
Yes. I mean, it's quite classy, that, isn't it, for a rock festival?
There you go.
I'm going to have a little shufty on the 2000 Trees Festival website and see what is included with VIP tickets, because I'm very interested. So if I go to tickets and select VIP, priority entrance, VIP parking, transport for you and your luggage, backstage camping. I mean, I don't know who'd want to put camp backstage, unless I've misunderstood what that means.
That might mean where you're camping, it's fairly close to the backstage area. So if it's anything like Bloodstock, the VIP camping area for Bloodstock is just behind the VIP guest area and behind the stage. It's well covered for music-wise. So if you're having a lie until 1 o'clock in the morning, you won't be able to hear the stage very much.
Having a lie until 1 o'clock in the morning?
If you're having a lie at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you're not very close to the stage, so you can.
Okay. They've got an...
Thank you, Neil.
I had to process that for a moment.
No, I understand.
Exclusive bar and food, a glass of bubbly, not a bottle, a glass, pampering tent, a bag of exclusive merch from the concierge team upon arrival, and so much more, it says here. So £240 face value, £252 including booking fee. I think that's all right for a 3-day ticket.
That's not too bad. I mean, that's that. You remember that's the same price, or actually that's a little bit cheaper than a 5-night camping ticket at Download.
That's early bird prices as well.
Yeah, and as well, you can if you scroll up and down there somewhere, you should be able to find a joint ticket for £150, I think, that gets you to Arc Tangent as well. So you're getting 2 festivals for the price of one.
Yeah. Do you know what? So tempted. Yeah, I think this may have to happen at some stage.
See, this is the thing. So, if I had the spare cash, I would be buying a general camping ticket for Arc Tangent and 2000 Trees, and then Techfest at the same time.
Oh, bliss! Yes,
and that still works out. I mean, yeah, it will be more expensive than a 5-night ticket at Download, but you've got 3 festivals there that is cheaper than a VIP ticket to Download.
Okay. Well, there's options there. I mean, Download is the festival that is the one that everyone talks about, but these smaller ones they look amazing. They really do, and I really want to go to them actually. And it's going to happen. I'm going to say it now. It's going to happen. I'm going to go to one of these other festivals, apart from just Download, and expand my festival palette, as I think we should as well. Next, we'll get some advice about going to Download in the guide. In this section, we'll try and answer your questions about what it's like to go to Download Festival, things we recommend, and things to avoid. This time, hotels. Now, camping isn't for everyone. I know plenty of people who won't go to festivals because camping scares them. Now, they wouldn't say that. They say they want the comfort of a hotel, which is understandable. But camping can be daunting, especially in the notorious Download weather. Or if you're fine with camping but you want to be in first when the Download doors open to get your best spot in the campsite, staying at a hotel nearby makes that a whole lot easier. So what are our options? We have many to choose from.
You do. You've got B&Bs and hotels, obviously, and that are, again, either in Castle Donington itself, or there's a couple of villages east and west of the Download camp, obviously the Download itself, and then you've got hotels by the airport.
Yeah.
So the hotels that are by the airport, they're the hotels I call old reliable. What I mean by that, it's your travel lodge, your Premier Inn, your Holiday Inn Express. You know what you're getting with them.
Yeah.
When you stay at them,
Just a basic stay.
That's it.
And a breakfast.
They are, or they can be value for money on that Tuesday night, I believe. But as time goes on, getting closer and closer to the festival, prices do start racking up.
And this is the case with any hotel. Having worked in a hotel, the closer and busier a hotel is expected to be, and the closer to the time of an event happening, the prices are jacked right up. Because it's like anything, if something is in demand, people are going to charge more for it. And if something is in low demand, you're going to get it dirt cheap. So if you book something way in advance, then you're going to get it dirt cheap, hopefully. But if you leave it till the last minute, odds are you won't get a room because it's booked up, or you'll be paying sky-high prices. That goes for all these.
So the hotels that are closest to the airport, you've got, as I've mentioned, the Holiday Inn Express, Travelodge and Premier Inn. You've also got the Jury's Inn and also the Hilton, which we have experience in, don't we?
Yeah, and it's only a taxi ride to Donington because basically it's at the airport, which is the next door neighbour of Donington, the racetrack. So you can either choose to walk up, which I wouldn't recommend because it is, these are big places, the airport and the racetrack. They're huge. So, it could take you quite a while to walk, and it would be quite an unpleasant walk with all your shit, especially if it's raining. So very cheap taxi ride, or I believe there are shuttles as well.
The shuttle bus service, that will drop you directly on the door of the campsites. So if you do stay in one of these hotels on the Tuesday night, taxis and shuttle bus will literally drop you at the doorway of the campsites. Which
is what you want. You don't want to be messing, do you?
You can't be asked trouncing all your crap from the car parks of camp. It's a ball ache, to say the least.
And even if you've gone by car, obviously you've got the option of just driving from the hotel to the car park.
Of course.
Which is what we do.
We mentioned the shuttle bus there, which brings me on to another point. There is a festival transfer buses service from Derby train station. So if you do end up wanting to stay in Derby in the city instead of obviously staying closer to the festival, there is a every half hour there is a bus transfer which takes you into, again, on the doorstep of either the campsite or the doorstep of the arena.
Wow.
So there's that for your FYI.
Yeah, and we tend to stay in hotels every year. I think we have done every year since
2017.
17.
Yeah. So our experiences, we've stayed in the Holiday Inn twice and the Hilton once, and then we're going a little bit different in 2022. We're going a little bit posher, aren't we?
Yeah, but it wasn't by design. It was more just because that's what was available and cheap.
No.
Oh, did you go for that? Because you found this place, didn't you? Did you want doilies and net curtains?
So I found the Priest House Hotel, which, when I say it's a stone's throw from the festival, this hotel, B&B, whatever you want to call it, is literally right behind what is usually Yellow Camp. So we're literally going to be on the doorstep of Download. We're going to have to drive around to get to the RIP, but I mean, it's still cool that we may potentially be able to see the festival from the hotel the day before we get round there. So that one is just north of the festival, and you can find it's just outside Castle. It's just inside Castle Donington, so it's easy to find.
The price range of these, I think we're talking sort of £100 or less per night, aren't we, really? And if you're sharing it with somebody else, you can split the cost, of course, and it makes it very economical to do.
For the Tuesday night, 100%. I couldn't recommend it more to make life a little bit easier getting into the festival on the Tuesday morning, and not 12 o'clock like it says, and it recommends that you should wait until 12 o'clock for the doors to open, because they don't open at 12. They open about 9 o'clock half the time. So to be able to roll out of your hotel into the queue and then onto the campsite, it does make things a lot easier and a lot less stressful.
And like our experience at the Pilot, if you arrive at Download and the campsites have already been populated, and looking for a spot to set up is horrendous because you can be walking for hours. So if you get there and the campsites are mostly empty, it's such a nicer experience because once it's first thing in the morning, you're set up, you're ready, and you can start drinking. And, the earlier the better, as far as I'm concerned, because no one likes queuing. No one wants to have to walk around with all the shit for hours on end thinking, shit, I don't think we're going to find anywhere. It's just not a nice experience. So if you get there early, which is what we love doing for the most part, get there early and get set up and you're ready for the day and the rest of the festival. It's just a nice way to begin rather than getting stressy, because no one wants to begin a festival all stressed out. So, get a nice night's sleep on the Tuesday night into the Wednesday morning. Have a breakfast and roll up to download nice and relaxed. There's nothing like it, and I don't think that many people do it.
It doesn't seem like that many people, or at least it doesn't seem that. Again, whenever we go into Castle Donington, we go to the Castle Inn to have a few drinks,
and then get asked to leave.
That only happened once. We didn't get asked. I'm sure we didn't get asked to leave last time we were there.
I always drink so much there, I can't remember.
Yes, that's the problem, isn't it? That's a good thing that you document everything, like obviously with your videos and that, just in case we do. There are those times we do forget. But yeah, I mean, we got asked to leave in 2017. It was me, you, and it was the three of us, and we got asked to leave because I think
was there not four of us?
No, four of us. It was 2018.
Oh right, okay. See, I've got no memory of this.
Yeah, and 2019. It was just the two of us left standing by the end of the night, and we got a taxi back to the hotel. Then I waited till about 1 o'clock for Dave to arrive.
Oh, you did, didn't you? That was nice of you. Pissed to sleep on the sofa.
Fucking knackered.
So yeah, it is nice. It's also a nice way if you're meeting people, if you all meet at the hotel so that you're all together. Before you go in, that's nice as well because with the thousands of people who are arriving at the same time when you just turn up and down, where are you camped and this, that, and the other. If you all go in together, then it's just a nice, much more organised way of doing it.
The atmosphere in Castle Donington as well is a really good buzz in that afternoon, because obviously you're getting everyone obviously arriving and everyone's excited to go to download. And everyone's going to start having a few chilled out pints for the afternoon, and there is a really good buzz about it. The Castle Inn has like a massive heavy metal playlist for when we all arrive, which
and it's full of downloaders as well, which it's a great atmosphere.
Yeah. On the subject, obviously, the Castle Inn, Castle Donington, there is a few places you can stay there as well.
Oh yeah.
Off the top of my head, you've got Donington Manor, which I believe is opposite the Castle Inn pub. You've got Donington Cottage Guest House, Castle Town House, which is a B&B. Hambleton House, and I can't read my own fucking writing, so I'm going to ignore that one. There's also The Keep, which is located in Castle Donington as well.
And where are you finding these? Are they on booking.com or something, or hotels.com?
I typed in booking. I typed places to stay in Castle Donington.
Okay.
On booking.com, and a big old list came up.
Okay, fine. So they're not difficult to find. And like anything, book sooner rather than later. Don't leave it, because there's only so many rooms in Castle Donington, because it isn't a big place. It's only a small place, isn't it, really? So there's only so many B&Bs and hotels and stuff. So if you are planning on doing this, do it sooner. Do it now!
Yeah. To be fair, should have done it 2 years ago when they first announced the festival.
Yeah, I mean, we've had our booking at the Priest House Hotel for
about 2 years.
I mean, didn't we book it in? We booked it for 2020.
Originally, I had
booking for 22 years.
I had originally booked us into Pleasant House B&B in Kegworth, which is found on the east side of the M1. And we ended up cancelling that once download was cancelled for the first time, and then we booked into the Priest House, and I've had the Priest House booking for at least a year and a half, if not 2 years now. But mentioning Kegworth, there's a few hotels there. It's a little bit further away. It won't, again, the taxi ride to download will only be about 10-15 minutes at the most. but that's again a village nearby that has plenty of options for hotels.
Because obviously, it's nice to stay in Castle Donington because you're very close to the racing circuit and download. But if you've left it late, or perhaps if you want to save a bit of money, then it is cheaper to stay in Kegworth or any of the surrounding other villages that are there.
Yeah, there's a few also in Melbourne, which is on the west side of Download itself. There's plenty of places around. Booking.com, hotel.com, whatever it's called. They're your best friends. The best piece of advice that we can give is just book early.
Yeah, definitely. You can't really beat that convenience because, getting there late. The only thing that I can point you to is our download pilot video where we get there. I don't know what happened actually because we didn't stay there overnight beforehand, did we? Because it was started on the Friday.
Yeah, so that was my fault. I'll hold my hands up to that. I unfortunately had work and couldn't get out of it on the Friday and on the Thursday.
It was very last minute though, wasn't it?
Actually, I think I left about 11 o'clock, and then must have arrived at the services about 1ish. We didn't get in till about 2, and all the decent spots had been saved or taken. So
there was literally nowhere to camp by the time we got there. That was legitimate. You could by the time we got there, we could only camp in the emergency walkways, which they told us to. They told us to camp there, and you don't want to be in a situation like that. So get there nice and early is what we recommend. Get a hotel nearby. Give a bit of money to the local economy and help those B&B and hotel owners as well because they put up with us.
Putting up with us is definitely the phrase for it, especially in 2017.
Oh God, yeah. And there are some very nice restaurants and pubs and bars and all sorts in Castle Donington that we've been to. We tend to go and have something to eat in Donington. I wish I could tell you. The name of these places, but unfortunately, because by that point I've usually drunk a few, I couldn't tell you what they are, unless you remember.
I only remember because it's the one that we always go to. It's the Castle Inn, and they have a really good selection of pizzas in their own little wood burner. So I'd highly recommend popping into there your night before download if you're staying in the area.
Yeah, and there's another one that's a little bit further up the road that's more like a sort of pub restaurant type place, and they don't like swearing, we discovered.
We did find out they do not like swearing. I'm just about to try and find out actually what that's called.
Yeah, we did have some very nice food in there. In fact, we went there a couple of times over the years, and it's a lovely place, lovely pints, really good, decent prices. But and it's I guess you would say it's like a family type place, but then with it being in Donington, which is next to a racing circuit, which is for sweary blokes who have had a few, they were quite low tolerance on the swearing.
Were they, or were we just that loud?
Now, I had a few drinks by this point, so maybe my view of this is a bit skewed, but you could be right there.
The name of said place is the Apiary, which is just on it's on one of the corners. I'm just briefly looking at it now. There is loads of places to eat. The Apiary does a decent burger, and that's coming from someone that doesn't eat meat anymore.
Oh you're vegan now, aren't you?
Yeah, and the Castle Inn, which is where we go every single time we're there. So those two would be my recommendation for food the night before. Yeah,
it's definitely, it just makes it a lot nice. It makes it a lot relaxing because we always catch up the night before and have a night of it, and it's nice. There's such a lovely atmosphere in Donington, Castle Donington. It's a really nice place. It's only small, but it's a really nice place to stay the night before. Now, if you have booked and you're going to be staying the night in Castle Donington or in Melbourne perhaps or in Kegworth, it's nice to get there and just get prepared for the week that's to come. Because if you arrive there and you're not prepared, or if you arrive there with all your stuff in your car, you feel like you haven't had a chance to sort of settle down. I know it's like an old man thing to say, but it's nice just to have that little bit of time and space just to get mentally ready and just have a little bit of a nice night before a week of hectic camping.
No, do you know what? I totally agree. I think the hotel thing became a thing, even for me and my wife when we do Bloodstock. It became a thing in 2017, purely because it just makes the travelling to the festival on the day so much more bearable.
Because the travelling itself can be quite stressful, can't it?
If you travel up on the day of the festival, if you're coming in from the south on the M1 or even coming from the north on the M1, you are going to hit traffic on that slip road, and sometimes it can take hours. Yeah. So, yeah, to avoid hours of traffic and sitting in potentially maybe 20 minutes, half an hour of it instead, coming from your hotel, it does make a difference. Because, I think 2019, the traffic was quite bad trying to get in when we last went. And getting into the queue, obviously it was pissing with rain anyway. I think everyone was just a bit like, oh, this is going to be a ball ache.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you know, I always forget the traffic, but it's true. You can be sat there for what seems like hours, not really moving. So, yeah, that's definitely worth it because nobody likes to sit in traffic. So, yeah, that's our little guide. That's our recommendations. If you've got any questions, you can ask us or give us your own viewpoint on staying the night before going into download by sending us a message on social media. Tell us your do's and don'ts. Tell us something we've missed, places that you recommend, or just give us your opinion. Just search for Festpod on the socials. Next up, we'll hear what's coming out of your mouth on social media. In this section, we're going to hear your answers to our question online when we asked, what bands are you looking forward to seeing in 2022? And we had a few replies. We had a reply from Luke Redman Gray, who wants to see Avatar this year.
Don't blame him. They are amazing. I believe then if he's saying that, I imagine then he either saw the Bloodstock announcement yesterday or they are touring in the UK in 2022.
Yes.
Either way, he's excited to see them, and I don't blame him.
Yes, that's his only band that he wants to see this year.
Yeah, so Josh Tagg has said Lorna Shore. Now, I find this one really interesting because I only recently heard of Lorna Shore. They were actually They were mentioned in a TikTok that one particular song of theirs was the heaviest song they'd ever heard, and then they chose another song that was even heavier. And I listened to Lorna Shore, and fuck me, yeah, heavy is the correct word to use. They are fucking insane.
Oh.
So yeah, I don't blame him for being excited to see Lorna Shore.
Coots Britannia wants to see Sabaton and Ghost, Sweden's finest, is what they say there.
I was due to see Sabaton this year as well.
Oh, well,
we still are. We still are. They postponed their UK show, so we don't know when they're next going to be playing. But they were due to be playing with Lordi. If you remember Lordi, they won Eurovision Song Contest for Finland several years back, and the Who. Not the Who, the British The Who. These are the Who that played. I think they played 2019 at Download. It's like throat singing to metal.
But they're called The Who.
The Who, yeah, HU, The Who.
Oh right, okay, that's the way of getting around it. Because you can't have another band with the same name, can you?
No, and yeah, we were really looking forward to that. But yeah, the Sabaton gig got postponed, which is really really annoying. Ghost. I still think they could slip into that third spot on the. Hey, innuendos on this podcast are becoming less and less. What is wrong with us?
I don't know. So Ghost are going to be slipping in.
They will be, yes. I know I'd like to see Ghost slip in.
Would you?
I would. For that final logo spot on the Friday.
Yes.
But they are touring around the UK anyway.
Slipping it in around the UK.
They will be slipping it in around the UK, yep. So you won't. So if they don't play Download, at least you've got the opportunity to go and see them this year. And obviously, as Cooch Britannia said, they are seeing them.
Yes.
So that's wicked. Miss Laura Soph on Instagram says she's really looking forward to seeing Motionless in White. So Motionless in White played in 2017 and opened up the main stage, I believe. And that's a point. Are they on the... I don't think they're on the Download lineup at the minute. But you asked me a question earlier. Who do I think may slipping in? Yes. Motionless in White could be one of them because they were due to play, or they were at least on the first... they were on the first poster.
Are they a British band?
Cancelled. No, they're American.
Are they?
So
okay.
They are indeed. Yeah, if I could describe them in any sort of word, I'd say they've got Marilyn Manson type-esque vocals to Korn type rock.
Oh, right,
music.
they sound quite good.
They actually did a track with Jonathan Davis from Korn, which they played at Download, and I actually started welling up thinking, oh my God, I'm going to see Jonathan Davis, I'm going to see Korn, I'm going to see Korn. But he didn't turn up, which was upsetting, but the song is still amazing. Wow.
We have Peter James Harand-Piavovarsky. I hope I've said that right. I'm going to have another go. Peter James Harand-Piavovarsky. I hope that's right. I'm sorry.
That's a wicked name.
I know, yeah. What a nameplate. Shinedown and Miles Kennedy and Biffy Clyro at Download. Green Day in Huddersfield and Green Day are playing Huddersfield. And Guns N' Roses in Tottenham is what he's looking forward to.
The Green Day in Huddersfield, it's a stadium show. I think that's the stadium shows with Fall Out Boy and a couple of other bands. Oh, fuck me, I can't remember now off the top of my head. See, I need...
It's bizarre, though, to think that Green Day are playing in Huddersfield. I mean, Huddersfield's a tiny little West Yorkshire place.
It doesn't sound right when you say they're playing in Huddersfield, but they're playing... I believe they're playing at the football... It's either the football stadium or a rugby stadium in Huddersfield.
Right.
So that's yeah, saying something like Huddersfield, I've been Huddersfield once in my life, and yeah, it's not a big, bustling sort of place.
Okay. Right, well, good luck to you watching them there. So then we've got Mark Lindsay, who wants to see Dropkick Murphys and the Interrupters. That's written in a very odd way. Slow down while reading that. And Maiden and Megadeth at Download. Dropkick Murphys, The Interrupters, Maiden and Megadeth is who he wants to see at Download. Guns N' Roses...
Hang about.
What?
Sorry to interrupt you there. Hang about. Dropkick Murphys aren't playing Download.
Oh, maybe it's separately then.
The Dropkick Murphys are not playing the UK in 2022.
Oh, well, maybe he's not going to watch them in the UK. This person looks like he travels because he's going to see Guns N' Roses in Dublin and then Rammstein in November. So it may well not be in the UK.
Then fair play to them.
Absolutely. You don't travel for gigs, do you? Particularly.
So most of the gigs that I see are London. It's just so convenient to get to, and everybody comes to London to do a show. So to travel to see to see a band, it's almost unnecessary.
Gary Ray Bold, 09, has said he wants to see Neverhall this year.
I recognise the name of that band. But I've never listened to them. To me, they sort of... See, I'm not going to make any swooping judgments. So I've heard of the name. I've never listened to the music. So maybe that's something that I could definitely get into in the next couple of weeks.
Want to stick on the list?
Dan Browning, who messaged us today, actually, as it goes. Hello, Dan, if you're listening, is looking forward to seeing Nana War of Steel.
Nana War? Nana's at War?
We spoke about this one last time, yes. Nana's at War.
Still makes me laugh.
Life of Agony. And Static X. Static X I'd love to see. They were one of those big nu metal bands back in the early 2000s, like late 90s.
Static X.
Static X, I don't know. 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 Yeah. So obviously back then they were really, really big. These days, still fairly big, still quite into like a sort of industrial nu metal sort of type. But the singer's different. The singer died a few years back, but they're still going, and they are playing the Sunday night headlining slot on the second stage at Bloodstock.
Oh, you're not going this year, are you? So you won't meet him.
I'm not. Nope. Who are you looking forward to seeing, Neil, in 2022?
Well, I have 3 concerts booked. I'm going to. Can you guess who I'm going to watch?
I can.
Go on then.
You're going to sit, and so you're going to 3 shows, aren't you?
I am.
Yep. Are they all Royal Blood?
They are Royal Blood. Yes, they are. Around the UK, I'm going to watch them because they're my number 1 band. I think they're great. And London, Birmingham, and Manchester. I saw that they were touring, and I thought, why not? Why not?
Yeah, fuck it. Book tickets for all the venues.
I mean, I'm not going to do all of the venues. They're doing more than just those 3. But
I mean, well, you laugh at me when you say that. But Korn only do the likes of like Manchester, Birmingham, and London, and then they'll fuck off to like Ireland and then into Europe and do like a couple of dates in there.
Yeah, the Foo Fighters are only doing a few places in the UK, but I'm not going to all those either. But it just happens that I'm only going to 3 of the rest of it because it's a UK tour, and then they're going around the world, and then you've got your chance to hear them if you're elsewhere. But yeah, I just, it's a bit of an adventure, and I've never done this before, actually. I've never really followed a band on tour before, and you read about people doing it and enjoying themselves, and it's, maybe it's a bit sad, but I don't care. I'm going to go and enjoy myself, because it's not just about going to see the band, it's about the adventures that you'll have whilst you're doing it. The staying in hotels, the staying in different cities, the adventures that you'll have in the city whilst you're there, bars that you'll go into, people that you meet. So it's happening in March into April. So obviously I'll be talking to you about that. And who are you looking forward to, Lee, in this year?
Oh, do you know what? I'm so glad you asked. So apart from Download, where there's going to be several bands there I'm really looking forward to see, Korn being one of them, Spirit Box. I'll get my spreadsheet back up because obviously I've got a list of obviously who's in green.
Be poster on your wall.
Yeah. Download. I'm really looking forward to seeing Korn, Wargasm, Sleep Token, Spirit Box, Foxjaw, As Everything Unfolds, Death Blooms, and on the Bawdy Takeover, Borders and Red Method. I'm also seeing Gojira beginning of March, which I'm really, really looking forward to, and Sabaton once they rearrange their dates. Hopefully I'll get to see them this year as well.
The old bands that you mentioned, Download, I could quite happily say I'm looking forward to as well. They're just not number 1 on my list.
We can mosh together then.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason I'm going to Download, because I love the bands that are on and the type of bands that are on. So I'm looking forward to pretty much everything at Download, because no matter who I see, I'm happy. So that's,
Well, that's the great thing about like festivals and that. I mean, even if you don't know the band that's currently playing in that tent or on that stage, you can just stand there and then you may discover your next favourite band. I mean, it's happened to me over the years. Like I'd never heard of. Do you know what? I'm embarrassed to say this. I'd never heard of Devin Townsend and Strapping Young Lad until 2017 Download, and I was absolutely captivated by his show. That when he headlined Bloodstock last year, because there were festivals last year, he was fucking insane. It was incredible.
See, the Download pilot last year was the first time I'd ever seen Sleep Token, and I'm really taken with them now. And
same. That was the first time I'd ever seen them as well. I'd obviously, you know me, obviously, when I find out who's playing, I'll listen to all the bands that I can before the actual festival. And Sleep Token, one of the ones that I was like, yeah, this is the band I definitely want to see. And when they were announced for the pilot, that was like, amazing.
The awful thing, though, is that in doing your research, you can listen to the bands that are going to play, but the sound that you'll hear is a studio sound, not a live sound necessarily. So the experience of seeing them live can be totally different. to hearing the album?
Well, if you're like Dave, Dave YouTubes a lot.
This is Dave, who you may have heard on previous podcasts, just in case you've joined us recently.
Yeah, if we ever mention Dave, Dave was on a few of the earlier podcasts. We love Dave, and I cannot wait to see him again. But Dave YouTubes the bands as well, so he can find, even if it's dodgy phone footage, he'll find footage of them doing live shows, and if they look exciting on someone else's camera phone, then yeah, that's part of his research as well. So obviously not just listen to the studio quality, but then listen to the actual live footage. And on that's why I'm trying to do my best with Kiss and Iron Maiden, because I imagine they will be they can be very good live instead of obviously the studio quality from the 70s and the 80s.
I'll quite happily watch those shows, but I won't really listen to the albums because the shows are quite good to watch, quite entertaining, but I wouldn't put the music on. I've tried listening to the Iron Maiden stuff and tried to get into them, but it's not really doing it for me. And it's okay, but I'm not really into it. But if they're on a stage in front of me, I can quite happily watch them.
I think that's what's going to draw me in to see them at Download, is that if we're walking past them and I'm listening to them and they sound a lot better live than they do on the studio quality stuff, then yeah, I'll happily stand there and watch, and then I'll happily give a positive feedback of my experience with these bands.
I just find that bands in a studio are not as wild and raucous as they are in front of a crowd. Because what I really want is a live album. I want to hear the band as they play it on a stage, because I think that sounds so much better. Because they're reacting to an audience, they're really giving it some. And in a studio, which is quite, they're surrounded by four walls, it's not, the energy isn't there. I find all the time. I mean, some bands are different and they're always the same, but I just find in a lot of music that I hear that they're a lot better live for my ears. But then at the same time, some bands are much fucking worse live and they're better in the studio.
Marilyn Manson. One band that comes to mind when you mention energy to me is the albums they put out are amazing and they are fantastic and I love their albums. But seeing Enter Shikari live is a totally different kettle of fish, because the energy they have on stage, the presence, even when their interaction, they're fantastic. I saw them twice this year, and both the Ali Pali show was 100 times better than the Download pilot, but that's because, again, I think the Ali Pali show was a bit more intimate and personal.
Yeah,
because you've got Enter Shikari fans there instead of at the pilot. You've got Enter Shikari fans, you've got Bullet for My Valentine fans, everybody, fans of everything.
There's a song that I love to hear live. That and it's. I'm going to go. Let's be specific, shall we? For ages, for years probably, before Royal Blood released Boilermaker, they were doing live versions of it. A song they recorded with Josh Om, and it was great. The live version was all that the fans ever really knew of this track, and it's a fan favourite. We love it. It's great. I don't know why, really. It just sounds fantastic. And by the time it got to the album release, the recording of this track, which had actually been done before all of the live versions we'd heard, was so different. It did not sound like the live version. There was extra bits added that were in the studio version. It didn't sound as raw, which is what I like. And it did sound sort of... I just didn't like it as much. And that was a sentiment shared by a lot of fans, that the studio version was not as good as the live version. So this is probably where this opinion of mine comes from, is that I like the raw sound that you get in live performances that has perhaps been tuned out in the mixing stage of albums? I love that raw sound that you don't always get on albums, but there we are.
No, do you know what? I totally see where you're coming from, and I do agree. Like I say, that rawness live is what can make a show amazing.
Yes. Right, okay, well, thanks for all your lovely answers to our question. You've had your say, and so have we. So that is more or less it for this episode. If you like what you've heard, please give us a review wherever you've found us, and do look for us on the socials by searching for Festpod. The reason you'd want to follow us is because we post a lot of news, we post funny things, and you can interact with us directly on our socials. Just search for Festpod and we will see you there. So that's it. We'll catch you next time. Bye.
A Wilco Productions podcast.
Do you know what CDs are?